are. So the 5 albums that were taking a space with us, starting from 5 down to 1. Do you want? I originally saw it when Travis did the Rolling Stone like interview, and when he like did the sit down finally, and it was 5 albums you would take to space with you. And he like played around with the idea for a minute, and he didn't really answer it like fully in depth. He just gave like one answer. He said like Man on the Moon too, and that was like pretty much it. But I like that question, and I like the idea to think of like some of your like top records that top albums that you would take with you to space. And if you were just like isolated, like, and you could only have access to these 5, like which ones are you choosing? Before we get into it, I think we should go in descending order and go 5 to 1, and we can alternate. But before I even want to get into it, what were some things that you were looking for or backslash identifying for like the differences of between choosing between like your favorites and like the classics that like elevate above the rest?
So, like, my thought process when I created this was like, I want, I like a lot of different artists, as do you, I'm sure. I want to be able to, like, get a little bit of some of my favorites along the way. So, I will say that 2 of the albums that I have on here are collab albums because they both contain 2 people that I like their music a lot. So there are 2 collab albums on my list. I have to have something when um, I am taking off and heading into space and passing all the other planets, and then something for when you remember that you're in space and it's dark and sad and potentially lonely.
Yeah, I think I my list could potentially cover all of those things, which is interesting. I didn't think that at all. I didn't have any of that. But I do have, I think some are probably going to be a little predictable based on just like you've known me for so long, and you feel like I feel like that you probably will know some of the what I would pick. But for me personally, I kind of went on I'm a pretty introspective guy, and I like to like reflect a lot and like sit down and like I don't know. Like I like having like difficult like thoughts with myself. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
iron them out pretty much. So
yeah,
like what I looked for like when I was like trying to identify like some other than just one, pretty much it was just like time periods or points in my life that like this specific album probably like got me through some rough times, or I just like fucked with, you know what I mean? The 5 albums that were taking a space with us, starting from 5 down to 1. Do you want to go first?
yes. I'll start off. Number 5, I will be taking "Blonde" by Frank Ocean. Um,
Nice.
this fits like the emotional, sad, but also like calm, mellow. Whenever I'm just like want to chill in my spaceship, maybe with an alien, um, I might throw this on.
That would be that would be an issue. That would be a big
no,
issue.
no, 5. I've got "Blonde" by Frank Ocean.
Is that it? Do you have anything else to say, or do you want me to go?
Go ahead.
I have tunes from 2011 to 2019 from Burial. So this is a little bit different. It is a 17 song, 2 hour and 29-minute project. And really, what it comes down to, it's not like a traditional album. It's like scattered, loose singles from Burial from like almost like over a decade worth of work. And it's more like ambient, yeah, like ambient music, experimental, like introspective. Like this is something that you could you use the example of like this is something when you're floating through space, like this is like that
Yeah.
type of music that like you would be like sitting there looking out into the abyss, and it could potentially like play like that like surrounding like music, like kind of like when you're listening to like 4 megahertz like on
Yeah.
YouTube or something like that to go to bed.
Yeah.
And I put on
The
like as
white
one of my
noise.
points, as one of my points here is potentially sleep to this shit. So
Yeah.
that's one. It's really long. It's different types of vibes. It's a collection of loose singles, and that's my number 5 choice.
One of the things that I should have considered more is the length of all of these albums. Because if
you're
you're up
you're
there,
stressing that you don't have enough content up there.
that's like what I go back and forth with it because, like, do I want to just be up there listening to stuff just to listen to, or do I want to listen to stuff that I actually like? And I feel like I could find myself in a spot where, like, I take an album that I like, but it isn't necessarily like one of my favorites, and I get sick of it because it's just not one of my favorites. But I brought it because it's more content from that person that I do like.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you want to alternate? Do you want me to go with number 4?
Well, yeah, let's do snake draft.
Okay. For number 4, not really snake draft, but you're kind of right.
You know what I mean?
4,
Serpentine.
I'm gonna have to go with one of my. He used to be one of my favorite artists. As of right now, I feel like he's a shell of himself and washed. But I do think that his work and what he's done in his career has like shaped my musical interests, and that's Drake. And I am going to just say this is Drake's best album, most focused album. There's zero fat on this. There's zero skips. Every song is a complete classic. And he did a surprise drop, and that is like a big memory that I will always remember. And that if you're reading this, it's too late. It is a lonely, focused project. He was dialed in. Haven't left the condo for a week now. The hunger on this track is outrageous. The great R&B cuts, if you want to like change up the vibe and just feel something completely different and get into your feelings. The ode to his mother, I feel like is always a great like retrospective piece that you could listen to and you can identify with. And I mean, I just feel like this project is like the most perfect balance of everything, and I think it's just the best work Drake has ever put out.
Yeah, that's a good choice. You get a little bit of everything. Is that something that you were looking for too? Is like you were looking for, like I said, albums with like a little bit of everything. So like you have your calm, you have like your a little bit more upbeat, you have a little bit of it all. And I think that album
This is
encompasses
really
that.
this is really
Imagine,
like
dude, imagine
my
driving by Saturn
favorites.
and Madonna was playing.
These are like my favorites no matter what. And you're
Yeah.
right, like imagine listening to that like floating through space. You just think of like everything on this. It's just like you have Legend, Energy, 10 Bands, Know Yourself, No Telling. That's just like Six God, like Star 6 7, all locked in. Then you have like Preach if you want to fucking dance in your spaceship, god damn it.
Mhm.
And like then you have like fucking Now and Forever, Company, You and the Six, Jungle. Like there are no misses on this entire album from Drake. It's literally his best work, and every song's a banger. He was locked the fuck, and he said it a million times throughout this. This bull did not leave the crib until this shit was finished.
No, that's such a good one. I think that's a great choice. Sticking with the Drake theme, it's funny that you all and I both had a Drake album here at 4. This was one of the 2 collab albums that I picked. Now, this is not. I honestly, this is up there with one of my favorites, but it's not my favorite collab album of all time. It's not even my favorite album by Drake. But I, for some reason, on Earth, continue to find myself going back to this album. And I know that this one, I don't remember where you stand on this one, but at number 4, I'm taking Her Loss by Drake and 21 Savage. I like 21 Savage a lot in
Such
this.
an interesting choice.
I know, but as I wrote this down and thought about it for however long, like a week and a half. I was like, I still think it holds true. I think that, like I said, I continuously find myself coming back to this album, even now, and I feel like if I have to choose, I think that this album would be the one that I take. I think it gives you some versatility having 21 Savage on there. I think that 3 a.m. in Glenwood is honestly one of my all-time favorite 21 Savage songs. Um, I think Middle of the Ocean is also right up there with one of my favorite Drake songs. Um, you get a
I've
Trav-
been on record saying that.
you get you get a Travis Scott feature, you get some more up tempo music, you get some a little bit of everything in this. And it's not my favorite Drake album. It's not the best one that he's ever put out, but I think I would be more than content taking this with me in a spaceship, especially if I'm coming back to it so often already.
I respect that completely. Is it my? Would I have picked that? Would this make my top 50? Probably not. No, I'm
No,
just kidding.
that's
No,
fair. Honestly, that's fair.
I'm
I think it
completely
is
kidding. I do like this. I do like this album. I do think that it's pretty good. I'm not as big of a 21 Savage fan, and I think that would probably just be why.
I totally get that. I wanted, like I said at the beginning of this, to have kind of a little bit of everybody, and I feel like if I was up there in space, I would need a moment where I would want to hear some 21, and I'd be able to access that.
I
So,
completely feel you.
okay, I'll give you my third now. This might be cheating, and you can tell me if it is or not. But this is an album that I currently own, and it is the Eagles' greatest hits from 1971 to 1975.
No, no, that's not cheating. That's fine.
The reason I
That's
say that is
completely fine.
because it is a collective, but
Yeah, I have one kind of like that, like a little bit from 2000.
okay,
The one that I picked at 5 was from 2009 to 2011.
okay, that's fair. That's okay. Then we're good. But
Yeah,
I absolutely love this album from start to finish. It has some of my favorite songs on it. Take It Easy. Take It Easy would be the song that I played as I'm leaving space, coming back to Earth.
yeah, fire.
Tequila Sunrise, one of these nights. Desperado, Already Gone. Like they just have. This is one of my favorites, and I probably listen to this album, at least one of these songs off this album, every other day.
This is a great switch up from you here, Blonde, and then you had Blonde, right? Then you had
Yes, Her Loss.
Her Loss, and then this Eagles collective album with like all these hits on it. That is a great mix of tastes right now that you have brewing.
I feel very, very good about the 5 albums that I picked. I won't lie to you.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm pissed I didn't think of that. That's a good one. For my number 3, I have Man on the Moon, End of the Day, Kid Cudi. And there's just like a few things. I remember living in an apartment. I had a small flat screen TV on the wall. We were broke. We didn't have cable. I had DVDs and I had other CDs, obviously, but like that Man on the Moon CD got spun in the back. It was like a built-in DVD player that you used to like hit on the back side of the TV that would like pull out. And you could like throw in and play it and it would just spin. And it just something that I just constantly had on repeat, and at a time where like I was always fine as a kid. You knew me as a kid. Like it's not like that was an issue, but like that sad tone, but him being able to turn it into like such like a positive, almost like in a way, like a
Inspirational almost.
Yeah, inspirational feel like on like an album. And I mean, I just want to pull this album up real quick because I feel like at this point, like it almost gets slept on. We got Soundtrack to My Life, Solo Dolo, Heart of a Lion, My World, Day and Night, Sky Might Fall, Cuddy Zone, Pursuit of Happiness, Higher, Up, Up and Away, Man on the Moon, like My World, like In My Dreams, which would be like a great talk about going up to space,
like
listening in my dreams or something like that. Like this album is just such a classic. Yeah, Day and Night. It's such a classic, and just being able to like almost like unlock like a childhood memory also while listening to it, and how like it played such a role like in like my taste of music like coming up, because that was like obviously the first album I ever owned was like I forget the Slim Shady LP, which is like 1999.
Mhm.
My dad used to listen to it in like this big like brown Buick that we had. Like I literally never forget like we had this long, remember like cars used to be like so long, and we used to like sit there and like throw in this Slim Shady LP, and I used to curse and when I was rapping, and my mom used to yell at me. And obviously like we all listened to like Wayne coming up as well, but like Kid Cudi was like the one that like resonated with me the most, and was like I like this style of hip hop more than like any than like the spitting esque style, and it still plays a role in like pretty much what I like today, because now I'm just like a massive Travis Scott fan, and that's his biggest inspiration as well. So I'm gonna go number 3, Man on the Moon, The End of the Day.
The amount of people our age that, and probably like a year or two older, that like grew up listening to this album is, I don't trust you as a person. Like that's like number one on, like, if you didn't listen to this album, like what were you listening to when you were that young? Like I
Literally.
remember trying to find ways to like get this album on my iPod, the explicit version, because I wasn't allowed to listen to
Yeah.
to the explicit version. Same with Green Day as a kid. Um, and it's just, you could, I feel like you could talk to like 90% of the people around, like that listen to music around our age, and they would have, everybody would give you kind of like their own cut of time as to what was going on when you were listening to this album.
Yeah. A
And
snapshot of your Kid
yeah,
Cudi fandom. Yeah,
yeah, because
he's
I think
one of my favorites.
everybody had it. I think everybody went through that time period where this was like the best album you've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was one of those original Stamp It albums. This shit's a
Yeah,
classic.
it
When we
was.
were
I
kids.
mean, we're still talking about it 15, 20 years later, and we're
Yeah.
definitely not the only ones.
No, definitely not. Am I on to number 2?
Yep.
So my number 2, this might be a curveball backslash a shock to some people, but this is just I've been on record saying this multiple times, and I still feel very strongly about this. I'm gonna go number 2, Utopia by Travis Scott, and I know that like a lot of people don't identify Utopia as Travis Scott's best album. I personally do. I don't think that he was able, I think that this was some of the best work that he's ever produced. And there's a few things also that like what makes this album, it dropped almost at like a perfect time in my life, almost like when you like, when you like need something the most. And
Yeah.
I like just got laid off from my job. My girl just left me for like the 5th time. And I was at a point where like I was just like I'm obviously a big Travis Scott fan, and to watch everything as like a big fan, like you watched everything that Travis went through over like the last X amount of years, 5 years with the Astroworld tragedy, and everything that was going on. And to have such a spotlight on you, and knowing that like you have to make a comeback, and are you going to deliver in a big way? Is that a possibility? And I think that he not only delivered in a big way, he performed way over expectations. And I just felt like in this album, it was just about his identity, pressure, isolation, and a creative rebirth, which when you listen to this, it doesn't sound like any other Travis Scott. Some cuts do, like I Know and shit like that, but there are some outlandish beats on here that I think that he absolutely snaps on. He gives some of his best rapping performances ever. And like I said, just this is a special album to me. It defines almost like a time in my life. It was like I saw it in person twice, once with you,
Yeah.
once with Rose, my old girl, and it's just like a special memory for me all around. And even when this time stopped, like I mentioned that this album is majority about like a creative rebirth for Travis Scott. And this is like when me and you first started like doing the YouTube channel and stuff like that, and like
Yeah.
getting inspired by listening to this album. And it was just like such an important piece of work that I still go back and listen to pretty often. And I just think that like it's one, it's an hour and 13 minutes long, 19 songs, and it
19.
kind of
Yeah. I don't know.
it has a sprinkle of damn near pretty much
Everything.
everything on here.
Yeah.
Modern Jam's still the most underrated song of all time.
Yeah, this has it all. You've got Drake, you've got Playboy Cardi, you've got 21, you've got The Weeknd, you've got West Side Gun, Bad Bunny, 20, like you've got a little bit of everything,
Brother,
19
you
songs, like
got Young Lean and Dave
yeah,
Chappelle
I
on the
know.
same song. And I know that that's not everybody's
Cup
cup
of
of
tea.
tea
Yep.
favorite song.
It's
That
cool
is
as
one of
hell
my
though.
favorite Travis Scott songs ever. He plays with like that Bon Iver like
Yeah.
vocal whatever shit that he uses. I think that like Dave Chappelle's like message when he's just like speaking to you. There's just so much on this album. There's so much reflection on this album. I it's still and you were there watching it live and you kind of understand that. I went and saw it live twice.
Yeah.
Getting to experience a Travis Scott album live makes it more special. I saw
Yep.
Astro live, I saw Birds in the Trap live. Like
Yep.
it's just it's different because there's so much energy and and on purpose like things that he does on for a live performance that just makes you appreciate something like way more. So number 2, I'm gonna go with Utopia for me.
Yeah, I think that honestly holds true with like anybody as far as if you go and spend your money on them to see them in person. I know that the Travis Scott experience is completely different, but I felt the same way where it's like you go and you see somebody in person, that kind of means a little bit more than anything. Like you were willing to spend money, you were willing to hop in the car and or hop in an Uber and go figure out how are you going to go see this person in person and see this experience live. And I think that like adds to the enjoyment
Album
of
experience.
of the album. So
and
I think that's
and bro, you said it, you like alluded to it a little bit, like Travis like delivers on a live performance, like it's like
yeah
something you've never seen before. So the shit's
yeah
special.
yeah it's different. But I think this is a great pick. This is
So
like
I can think back in space to me and you kicking it at the concert in Philly.
I
So this is
know
a good retrospective piece. And I can think about me and my old bitch at the
yeah
concert and like what I did with her that entire weekend. So that's a good album to have in
yeah
space to just remember good bad times, like when I was looking for a job and got laid off and had a bunch of shit going on, and some good times as well, kicking it with the homies with your old girl and shit like that. So
full spectrum.
it plays all the hits for me.
I love it. I think that's a great choice, honestly. Okay, my number two. So I'll do my final two here. My number two is pronounced Leonard Skinnerd.
Yeah, that's fire.
I this is one of my favorite albums of all time. Freebird, Tuesday's Gone, Simple Man. I mean, Freebird, give me a better song to exit Earth than
There's
Freebird.
not. There's not.
There's
There's
not.
not.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I have just loved this album for. I'll be honest. I didn't even like get super big into like rock and roll until 2019, 2018. I always like listened to. I always would listen to it here and there, but it was never like the priority. It was never a priority to me how it is now. And the more and more that I listened to it, the more and more I continue to find myself going back to Leonard Skinner and this album. And if I could never listen to this album for the rest of my life, I would genuinely be upset. So I feel like that's a good indicator of,
That's a great reason to pick it.
yeah, I think that this is a perfect indicator of I have to take this with me to space.
Yeah, if you were in space and got upset, this is something that you can lean on.
Yeah, I don't know. I just love this album. It's only 8 songs and it's not a very long album, but I don't know. Anytime that one of these songs comes on, it just automatically puts you in a better mood, and that's what you need when you're up 90 billion feet in the air.
I like that. I like that. You got some great flavor on your list here.
Well, wait until you hear my number one. Number one,
Lil Uzi against the world.
Pluto, baby Pluto. Future
I
and
knew it. I
Uzi.
knew it. I knew it. I literally knew it. That's crazy. That is crazy. I knew it was gonna be Uzi for some reason. But go ahead.
I love Uzi. I love Future. I don't think I could go without listening to those two guys. The opportunity for them to be on the same album is, and I think that is it's not my favorite Future project, it's not my favorite Uzi project, but like I hold that project so highly regarded. I still listen to some of those songs on that album today. The album cover is very fitting for going to Earth. It's or for going to space, two astronauts. Um Again, just I think this album came out in 20 I feel like this came out in 2019 and it's been in my rotation since it came out. So again, just another telltale sign of an album being something that you can't go without listening to, and that fits this criteria. I love my collection of music here that I
Yeah.
picked. I feel really good about it.
One person that I could not get on this list that was tough to do was to get Future on my list, because
I
as much as I love Future, it was hard to pick an individual project where it was just like more prominent than the other projects that he had to throw on this list. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he's one of my favorites. Like, and he's missing. I think there's only one song that he's on my entire list, because he's not on this next album, and I think that he is only on Telekinesis on
Yeah.
Utopia.
Yeah, he's not on. If you're reading this, it's too late. He's obviously not on
Man on
your
the
first
Moon.
one. He's not on Man on the Moon. I can't even remember the name of your first one, but it's like what,
Tunes.
2009 to
Tunes.
11 to 19.
It's literally just Tunes 2011 to 2019.
Yeah, he's definitely not on that. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that I had Uzi and I wanted to make sure that I had Future on this list. I didn't think that there was a good enough album for either one of them. Not good enough, but I didn't think there was, like you said, one that stood out to me more than the others. I honestly think that this one stands out to me like the most, but I don't think it's like the best of either one of their work. But I don't know. I just really like this album, and it continues to find its way back into my, like, it finds a way to stay in my rotation every single year.
Yeah, W list, and
Yeah,
I want you to say your full list after I'm done giving my number one. I think you should just do a quick little recap, and then we can move on. But great list of some different flavors, literally complete. We don't have, well, we do have one of the same albums, because that's my number one, but we both had completely different things, and so that's fire. But number one, I alluded to it already. It's Blonde by Frank Ocean. It, for me, it's a certified classic. It literally, anytime that I'm somewhere, like I go, like I've traveled a ton, like, and have been like all around the country, like I like make it a point to like throw this in my headphones and like walk around and just
Yeah.
like listen, because this feels like a meditative piece.
Yes.
Like on just like memories, growing up, love, identity, and it's just like an essential listen to me, like almost as like a cognitive like reset, because it just makes you dive into the past, also makes you dive into the present and like compare those two things. It's a little bit of like reading, like when I work on certain things, like for like work or this, that, and the other thing, like I will read like a specific book to like kickstart my brain. This is like one of those projects that like Blonde will, I will listen to it from front to back to almost kickstart my brain and get me into a spot where I'm like ready to like almost like create a little bit. So like I'll read like two books that I really need to read before working on anything, and then I'll listen to Blonde. So it is like that is one that I need to like download on like an iPod or like something like that
Yeah.
in case if like the world ends, so I can like still listen to it. I do have it on vinyl, so maybe I'll be okay.
I need to get that on vinyl as well. But I think that you used a great word, and it's meditative. That's exact. I feel like that is perfect for maybe just Frank Ocean in general. I think he
Yeah.
just has that like calm, soothing, like easy listening, relaxed tone to him and all of his music. And I obviously had Blonde on my list for a reason. I think it's one of the best ever. I don't see how people can go without listening to this album.
It's just so it's just such an important piece of like modern work. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's one of those like pieces of culture that like in 30 years and 50 years or whatever like that, like it will still like stand the test of times. Like it's that special of a project, and it's just because well, one, the songs are extremely good, but the content in the project is just so timeless and so identifiable, where it's like about like being young, about finding your first love, about losing it, about getting older, about all the hardships and everything in life with like work and everything. It's just like such a perfect identifiable project that like you can listen to even with like the little skits throughout the
Yeah.
entire thing, where it's just what they're talking about. Like, and I even like even a good one that you listen to is like a Facebook story with like the he might be
Facebook.
like a yeah, French guy probably, and how he just talks about a woman who he's talking to and in person with, and she gets mad that they can't be friends on social media, and he just wants to focus on like being present, and that
Yeah.
shouldn't matter. And it was such a big deal for him, and it was a deal breaker of all time. It's just there's so much like to take away from like all of this, and you get an Andre 3000 feature on this too, which is amazing. Yeah, I mean, is there a better project than this? I don't think so, but
What's wild is I have more like memories and connection to Channel Orange than I do
yeah.
Blonde, but I like Blonde as a project better. Like I'll never forget when we were at team camp and in between practices,
Yeah.
we would just go chill in one of the rooms and like Jake would or somebody would play Channel Orange and we would just all hang out in there and chill out before we went to our next practice.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like
Yeah,
that's
I do remember all of that. That's insane to think about. Yeah. That's fun.
that was like when I first remember being like, holy shit, like this guy is
Special.
yeah,
He's different.
yeah,
I just use it now, like I use it as like a I don't know. I'm not like I wouldn't I wouldn't consider myself like a mental case or anything like that. It's just like a like like when you just need like a creative like reset or like a creative jump on like something that you're trying to like do or
yeah.
accomplish. Like so I just like talk about like potentially like reading something or like getting like sparked, like have something spark. Like this is that like project for me where it's just like that, and like it's very like I don't even know how to explain it. It's just very like I have gone you know what I mean? Like I've gone everywhere. Like I've sat like on the like on like a off of a rock
The
in like
Balkans.
San Diego overlooking like the ocean and like listen to the album on repeat, or like sit on a rock like with my feet dangling over the Grand Canyon and just like listen to this album like the whole way through, and just like you know what I mean, just like it I identify it with like everywhere that I've been because it's just like it just seems like it fits. So
It does.
Definitely one of the best albums ever in my opinion. I think it's just I'm fine. I know we talk about this. I know we talk about this often, but even if Frank never releases a project ever again, he will still be one of my favorite artists of all time. Like it would not even be a question.
Same here. So
recap your 5 albums that you would take to space with you. I felt like that was a great conversation about some of our favorites, reflecting on some of the past, and I want to hear your 5 before we close out here.
All right, I've got Pluto and Baby Pluto, pronounced Leonard Skinner, Eagles' greatest hits from 71 to 75, Her Loss, and Blonde.
Great. Mine were great flavors throughout all that.
I felt really good about
1,
that.
Blonde by Frank Ocean, 2, Utopia by Travis Scott, 3, Man on the Moon, End of the Day by Kid Cudi. If you're reading this, It's Too Late by the GOAT Drake, and Tunes from 2011 to 2019 from Burial. So those are our top 5 albums that we would take to space with us.
I feel like with that Tunes album, you could get almost a similar feeling if you just listen to like My Eyes and Parasail on repeat.
Have you listened to Burial?
No. But you described it as like as ambient. And those are 2 songs that kind of give me that same ambiance vibe.
Listen to it and get back to me. The way that I originally like found them was there is on it. So if this goes back to Frank Ocean, is he has a song, on GTA 5, which I'm a gamer. If everybody doesn't know that, I'm definitely into video games. There is a radio station on GTA 5 when you get in the car. It's called Blonded Radio, and Hiders by Burial comes on, and every single time it comes on, that's like one of those when you go and you're like looking through the radio stations when you're on GTA, when you get in the V and that song's on, that joint's playing out and you're not leaving. Hello.
And you when you get in the V and you're not leaving until what?
Until it's over. You're literally driving, or you'll, even if you have like a mission that you're doing in GTA and it's right around the corner, you're taking the long way around the corner because you want to listen to the rest of the song. So
the scenic route.
How about just make a note for yourself, listen to Hiders by Burial, and just give me a report back after you listen to it. So.